So if you would like to follow along, just log into, if you have access to Canvas, of course. If you would like to follow along, I recommend that you log into lms.tamu.edu, and in the top right-hand corner, you should be able to see a login button where you can log in with your net ID and password. If you're teaching for the first time in Canvas this summer, you should have access to Canvas. If you're staff or you're a faculty member waiting, you're not teaching this summer, you're waiting for, you're teaching in Canvas in the fall, you might not have access to Canvas yet until our office released the fall Canvas shell later on this month. But if you're a staff or faculty who would like to have earn early access, you can email aihelp@tamu.edu and just request for a practice course. Again, I'm going to show you in the meantime, while you log in, if you would like to follow along, I'm going to show you our website, lms.tamu.edu. Share the screen. So this is lms.tamu.edu, where you can learn more about Make the Move to Canvas. We are currently revamping and updating our Make the Move section, this section right now. So if you're wanting to learn more on how to move your eCampus to Canvas course, I would say wait until next week, because we're currently making some changes right now. This engaging with Zoom, and also the important part, which is the train up section, where you can learn more about our Fridays live, our training that we're offering this week or next week, every Friday. Our AI YouTube channel, that's where this video, this recording, and all of our previous training recording will be posted, is on our YouTube channel. And our special topics training is also a shorter version of, if you just want to learn more on how to create a rubric. We do have what we call special topics, where you can just learn more on how to create a rubric in Canvas. Again, the training and support is also the most commonly visited site, where you can email our support help, which is our help desk, or call them. And this is where you can sign up for your for the course migration consultation, and also office hours. Let's go back to the PowerPoint. And by the end of this training, you should be able to personalize your Canvas gradebook and set up your Canvas gradebook using assignment groups and weights. This is something that we can talk about in step 2, and we're going to talk about it now in this training. So a bit of overview. Again, we're going to cover a little bit on assignment group weights and how you can manage the gradebook in Canvas. So assignment groups. So in your syllabus, you might have a certain assignment group. For example, quizzes worth 30% of the final grade, or assignment worth 25% of the final grade, or something like that. Labs worth 10%, or something like that. That is where assignment groups comes in handy in Canvas, where it allows you to create those different groups based on the percentage that you put on your syllabus. And from this point on, I'm going to move between my this PowerPoint and my Canvas course. So if I'm going too fast, just let me know in the chat and I can talk slower, or I can repeat things again if needed. So let's go to my Canvas course. So again, after you log in, you should be able to see your home page, the course page, where you can find all of your courses. For this course, I'm going to use my sandbox, which is my practice course. And to create assignment groups, I'm going to go to assignments. Again, every time you see in step 1, my colleague did mention every time you see this eyes being crossed, it's basically not visible from the students. But you still can access it if you're the TA or faculty. And in here, you have the one group that comes from the template. I'm just going to work from the template, which is called assignment. And as of right now, you can see that it's 0% total. If you're not using percentage base in your course, you don't need to do this. You don't need to enable the group weights, which what I'm going to talk next. You can just leave it as points. Actually, you can disable it, which I'm going to show you later on this training. If you're using points, because it's going to calculate everything based on points that you put on your assignments or quizzes. So to create a brand new group, all you need to do is just click this plus group, and you can name it lab or something. And I'm going to create one more. I'm going to call it test or exam. And you can see it that now I have labs and exams. If you can create these groups anywhere you want. We recommend that you create this at the beginning of the semester or before the semester starts. But if you already create your content first before you create the groups, that is fine. You can still move your content. For example, if week 1 introduction assignment is part of labs, you can just drag and drop it right there. Now it's going to be part of labs, and it's going to count towards whatever percentage that you put in for this labs. And the same thing with quiz. I'm going to put quiz and drag and drop quiz as part of exams right there. Now, the next step that I'm going to talk about, that is how you can create groups. The next step that I'm going to talk about is how you can create the percentage weights. So you see this three dots vertical button. We call it snowman. I'm going to click the snowman and assignment group weights right there. And if this is your first time enabling it, you might have to click this button, weight final grade based on assignment groups. Just check that, and it's going to show you all the different groups that you have created. I have 3 so far, and you can just name it. Let's say 30 oops, that's 60, now 40. It's gonna automatically calculate to 100%, and click save. Now it's gonna say next to the assignments. Now it's gonna, everything under assignment is gonna weight 30% of total. Again, if you're using points, there's no need for you to click the percentage. You can just disable that. You can disable this. But I'm gonna do that and click save, just because I need to reuse this again for future training. But that's how you can create your assignment groups. Let me go back to my PowerPoint again and see if I did cover pretty much what I needed to cover in this assignment group section. Create assignment group weights, and to talk about that. And this is the activity session. Just let me know in the chat whether you would like to practice in creating your assignment groups, or if you're just watching, also let me know in the chat. I'm gonna play this timer. It's about 5 minutes. If you're just watching, just let me know. We can move things faster. Again, I need more than 50% to just let me know if you're just watching to be able for me to move ahead. Okay, I did receive more than 50%. So thank you for letting me know. I'm going to stop the timer and move to the second part, which is gradebook. So in eCampus, you have Grade Center. In Canvas, we call it grades or gradebook. But this is where all the student submissions, all the grades that you're going to use and what students can see, it's basically everything is going to be available in the gradebook. It's basically a communication tool between you as the instructor and the students, and they can track their progress. You can track their progress too using the gradebook. Let me go back to my course again, and when you see grades, This is basically the gradebook. And in this training, I'm going to talk from left to right. So this is all the students' name. This is all the students that currently listed under my practice course. And this is my next in each of the column. It's basically the assignments that you created. It's only going to show you if it's for a graded assignment. If a practice quiz, it's not going to show you in gradebook. So if you can't see it, it might be because it's not listed as graded assignment. It's a practice assignment. So you need to keep watch of that. So in gradebook, you can also view individual view. So I'm going to click that, and you have all these different settings. You can hide the student's name. You can allow final grade overrides, which we're going to talk later in this training. Show total points, and in here you can just select, oh, I just want to see Diana's scores. This might be useful if you have more than 100 students. If you're a large course, instead of scrolling on the gradebook, you just need to see one person on all the grades. And maybe you want to filter it based on Diana's week 1 assignment. If you're just teaching 5, like what I have, I usually prefer just looking at it from the overall gradebook view. But this might be handy if you have a large course, you're teaching a large course, and you can just view on the bottom, Diana, her letter grade, labs, and exams. I'm going to go back to not individual view. I'm going to go back to gradebook. But before that, I'm going to go to gradebook history. And here, that is where you can also, as a faculty, you can also monitor your students' assignments or grades. If you make any changes, for example, if you're doing regrading for a quiz, you can see that Travis at this time, this person received 10, but at different time, you change it to 5 or 10 or different grades or something. This is your gradebook history. You can filter it based on graders. If you have TAs, you can filter it based on your TAs. And you can just filter it based on start date and end date, or just different students, just to track them where they are currently standing. So it might be useful on some occasions. So I'm going to click back to grades, and I'm going to go to gradebook. Right there. So we did talk about gradebook and in view. Now you can arrange it by assignment names, A through Z or Z through A, the due date, points, or modules. There's also filters. And the important part is the different statuses in Canvas. So basically, whenever you see these different colors, you can learn more about what each color means by clicking the status. So blue is going to be late, and you can change it if you want. If you want late to be not blue, you can just change the color. But the default is going to be blue. Pink or red is going to be missing. If you allow students to resubmit something or assignments, it's going to show as green from drop and excuse. That's what you have right here. Travis submitted week 2 assignment late, and also Isabel, I excuse her for the week 2 assignment. And columns, you can also put notes if you want. And actions is basically where if you would like to grade your assignments or your quizzes manually from an Excel spreadsheet, you can import it. You can export this gradebook and import it. We do recommend that you actually grade your assignments or your quizzes directly in the gradebook or in SpeedGrader in Canvas instead of using for CSV. But if you would like to have a backup, you can definitely back up your gradebook by exporting it. And that covers this left-hand side features. And if you click each of the names, before we go to that gear icon, if you click each of the name, we have this arrow button where you can go to SpeedGrader and also mark it. For example, if, oh, Travis is actually not late, I don't want to give him a late penalty. Just click the arrow next to Travis' name and click none. And it's gonna, Canvas will mark them as not late and not give him a late penalty if you have that late penalty set up. So next, I'm gonna go to the gradebook. And this is where you can tell Canvas to create an automatic rule. And for in your gradebook, for example, if you don't accept missing submission, if you don't allow missing submission assignments to be turned in late, you can just click this. And instead of grade percentage for missing submission 100%, change this to 0. This is the most common points that that faculty miss, is that they keep it at 100. Basically, it's just telling Canvas that if you have a missing assignment, Canvas will automatically give a 100% full points. Change this to 0 or to 50% or something. So that is the most common mistake that I've seen a lot of faculty did in their Canvas course, because they leave it as default as 100%. Change that to 0 if you want. And you can also automatically apply deduction to late submission. For example, apply 2% every day or every hour if you're mean faculty. And you can only set to possible grade as 40. And after that, it's going to go straight to 0 or something like that. You can do that. And next up is grade posting policy. This is important because you might not want to release your grades before you graded all your students' assignments. You can make them manual posting grades, meaning that if you graded one student, just 5 students out of 10 students that you have, the other Canvas will not release their grades before you finish the grading, because it might be important, because you might in quizzes, I've seen this, that faculty use this feature in quizzes where you don't want to tell them what they receive before you look at the quiz statistics and make sure that there's no questions that you want to regrade or something. So you don't want to release the student's grade before you look at the quiz statistics. So just make them as manual post grades, and if you apply it to using the gear icon, it will apply to all of your assignments or quizzes, anything that you create from this point on. And you can just click update. Or if you want to just manually publish the student scores for just particular assignments, you can still click the snowman and click grade posting policy and make it manual. And this will say manual, so students, it will only apply for this particular assignments. After you're ready, after you give everyone a grade, you can just click grade posting policy and automatic and click save. Again, every time you see snowman, there will be different features that you can go through. And set default grade is basically if you want to give everyone full points, it will give everyone full points. Set default grade unfortunately does not work for, oh, I want to give Diana and Isabel and Travis full grade 10 points, and I want to give Mark 0 points. Doesn't work. When you do default grade, it's going to apply to everyone. So if you don't want to give everyone full points or certain points, you need to do it manually at this point. So that is grade posting policy. And the last thing that I want to talk about is the advanced feature, which is allow final grade override. So I have this turned on at the moment. If I don't, so that when I scroll down to the final grade, to the very right hand side, you can see that I have this override. So basically, I can override the student's grade. Oh, this student received just 0.1% before the student receive get an A, for example, because your cutoff point is basically for an A is 90% and the student received 89.9%. Okay, I'm gonna give that student an override and just put in 90%, and it's gonna give that student an A. If you type in just A or B or C, it's gonna give your students the lowest cutoff points and based on your grading scheme. And we're going to talk about grading scheme later. So again, if you want your students to be able to view their actual percentage, remember, put the actual percentage. Don't just put in B, because B, Canvas will think that, okay, the cutoff point for B is 85%. I'm going to give the students 85% instead of 89.9. So that is that. Let me go back to my PowerPoint again and make sure that I covered everything using the gradebook. I did cover how to use the gradebook and arrange column and gradebook filters. Again, you can filter it in view, you can do filters, and you can just filter it based on different assignments. I'm gonna uncheck filters. Late policies, I did cover about late policies. Grade posting policies. Manage assignment columns. Again, just a reminder that every time you click the right there, the snowman, you have more different options. For example, you can go to SpeedGrader, which I'm not going to talk about in this training. That's a different training, which is going to cover about SpeedGrader. Message student who, this is quite useful, and it's also a quite new feature too. You can message students who have not submitted yet, or haven't been graded, or scored less than, or scored more than. So you can set the default grade, like I said earlier. Curve grade is not available right now, but if it's available, just keep in mind that once you curve the grades, it's not, you cannot change it. Even us, if you send an email to AI Help, oh, I made some mistakes in curving grades. It's basically, we cannot undo it for you. And Canvas does tell you before you click OK or save that this is, once you curve grade, it is basically, it cannot be redone. And you can also hide the grades. You can enter the grades as points or percentage, and so on. And gradebook best practices, set up your gradebook before you start your course. That's always important. Whenever you're ready with your syllabus, always play around with your gradebook setting first. Keep a consistent grade posting policy and notify your students about it. So again, you can use the announcement, you can use the send students who in the gradebook, and so on, whichever you prefer. By email, it's also going to work. So let me answer the questions that I have in chat. Can you have complete instead of grade in the gradebook? Yes, you can. If you go to, so that is not something that's going to be available in the gradebook. That is based on your assignment. So if you go to the actual assignments, for example, in modules, I'm going to go to my assignments and click edit. And you can display grades as of right now as points. You can mark, you can show as complete or incomplete, and it's going to show as complete or incomplete in your gradebook. So that is per assignment settings. That's not something that you can do in gradebook. I'm going to cancel. And the second questions that we have on the chat, if everyone has the same grade or completion, could you copy and paste for all, or do you need to enter individually? So unfortunately, gradebook is a very sensitive process. Things if everyone needs to receive the same grade, like I said, you can use the set default grade as full points. For example, if you're doing a practice test or practice course, you don't really care about whether they do it or not. You just want to make sure that they have click on it or practice on it. You can mark them as, you can set the default grade. But other than that, you need to put the grades manually. So I hope that answers the question. But again, we have a different trainings that gonna cover about SpeedGrader that can make your grading process a lot more faster or smoother, more efficient. That's gonna be a different training which is gonna talk about SpeedGrader. Right now, it's just about gradebook, where everything from your end, it seems everything needs to be manual like this, right? But once I think you're gonna like SpeedGrader when you're ready when we have that training available on our website. Again, let's try. We have an activity. If you want to play around with the gradebook, I think I covered all this training quite fast than I intended. So just let me know if you would like to practice in the chat, or you have any questions. Just put it in chat. We can have a Q&A session. Okay. I think 2 people don't have access to Canvas right now, so actually 3. All right. Thank you all for letting me know. I'm gonna stop the counter, and I think we're actually at the end of this training. So I'm gonna stop the counter. Oops, that mouse works. And yes, we're at the end of this training. Thank you very much for attending. Again, we will have a repeat of all these different steps, step 1, step 2, step 3, in the afternoon, starting at 1 p.m. If you have any questions, feel free to re-register for the training again. And we're also going to have this training available on our YouTube channel. Again, this is just a very basic Canvas to just get started with Canvas information and training. We'll have more about advanced level Canvas training.